Let me put this to you honestly. You don't have a consistency problem, you have a reset pattern. The reason this matters so much is because those are two completely different problems. If you believe you have a consistency problem, you'll spend your life trying to force yourself into discipline. You'll look for motivation. You'll search for the perfect morning routine. You'll try to get serious. You'll wait for the right mindset. But if the real issue is a reset pattern, then the solution isn't becoming more intense. It's learning how to continue. And that changes everything. Because most people are not failing because they stop. They're failing because every stop becomes a full restart. The pattern. You know this pattern. Most people do. You begin the week feeling clear. You've reflected, you've focused, you've energized, you finally feel like, okay, this time I'm really going to do it. Maybe you clean the house, organize your calendar, start the workout plan, open the notebook, write the goals down, make the schedule. And for a moment, it feels like your life is finally coming together. Then reality happens. You get tired. A stressful conversation happens. You oversleep. Your emotions shift. Work drains you. Something unexplained interrupts the rhythm. And suddenly you miss one day. Just one. But instead of adapting, your mind quietly says, well, I already messed it up. And that moment right there, that tiny internal moment, is where the real problem begins. Because now you're no longer responding to the missed day, you're responding to the story about the missed day. The story beneath the pattern. The story begins usually like this. If I can't do it perfectly, then I'm failing. Or if I lose momentum, I need to start over correctly. Or even deeper, if I'm not progressing consistently, then maybe I just am not the kind of person who changes. And most people never question those thoughts. They just obey them. So instead of continuing imperfectly, they restart completely. Again and again and again. Not realizing that every restart reinforces the same identity. The person who always begins but never becomes. Why restarting feels safe. Here's something most people never realize. Restarting actually feels emotionally safer than continuing. Because restarting allows you to reconnect to possibility. When you restart, everything feels clean again. Fresh start, fresh motivation, fresh hope. But continuing requires facing the discomfort of imperfection. Continuing means accepting I'm tired today and I'm still showing up. I've lost momentum and I'm still moving. I'm not my best and I'm still continuing. This emotionally is harder because continuing forces you to let go of the fantasy that growth will always feel clean and inspired. Real growth usually looks much messier than people expect. The hidden addiction to starting over. Some people become addicted to beginnings, not consciously but emotionally, because beginnings are exciting. Beginnings are filled with potential. There's no evidence yet, no struggle yet, no disappointment yet, just possibility. But eventually, every meaningful path moves beyond inspiration and enters repetition. And repetition is where identity is actually formed. That's the part people avoid. Not because they're lazy, but because repetition confronts you with yourself, your emotions, your resistance, your inconsistency, your exhaustion, your excuses, your fears. And if you've built your identity around restarting, repetition can feel unbearable. The truth about momentum. Momentum is not built through intensity. It's built through continuity. Most people think momentum comes from giant action. It usually doesn't. Momentum is created when your nervous system learns we keep moving even after disruption. That's real momentum, not perfection, continuation. And the beautiful thing is, tiny continuations still count. A 5-minute walk still counts. Writing one paragraph still counts. Listening to one podcast instead of 10 still counts. Doing the smaller versions still count. But the goal is no longer prove I'm perfect. The goal becomes prove I can remain in motion. That changes the entire emotional experience of growth. Here's a different question. Most people wake up asking, how do I restart? But maybe the better question is, how do I continue from where I actually am? Not where you wish you were, not where you were on Monday, not where you think you should be, where you actually are today. Tired, continue tired. Discouraged, continue discouraged. Uncertain, continue uncertain. Because continuing while imperfect builds a much stronger identity than restarting while inspired. The real skill nobody teaches. Nobody really teaches this skill. We teach starting. We celebrate beginnings, New Year's resolutions, fresh starts, big announcements, transformation stories. But almost nobody teaches the sacred middle. The ordinary days, the low energy days, the emotionally heavy days, the I don't feel like it days. And yet, those days determine almost everything. Because your future is not built on your most motivated days. It's built on your ability to remain connected to movement when motivation disappears. Here's one concrete practice for you. So here's the shift for today. Instead of asking, how do I get back on track? Ask, what would continuing look like today? Not idealized continuing, real continuing. Maybe it's smaller, maybe it's slower, maybe it's imperfect, but it's still movement, and movement matters. If you spent years feeling like I start strong but I can't stay consistent, maybe it's time to stop labeling yourself as inconsistent. Maybe what's actually happening is this. You were never taught how to continue after disruption. You were taught perfection or failure, all or nothing, on track or off track. But life doesn't work that way. Real growth is not linear. It breathes. It fluctuates. It stretches. It contracts. And the people who eventually transform their lives are usually not the people who never fall off. They're the people who stop turning every interruption into an ending. If this episode resonated with you, go deeper with the Vibe Shift blog, and the link is in the show notes. And before you head over to the Vibe Shift blog, I want to tell you this, my friend. I believe in you, I see you, and I know you are a motivated person. Let's continue.